Welcome back to Will Call Theater and Film Talk. I'm Roman Sanchez, and since we are close to ending out the decade, I thought it would be fun to reflect on some of the film gems that came out in the last 10 years. Here are the best 50 movies of the decade, according to me. We started out with 2010, which brought us some great ones like True Grit, Black Swan, The Book of Eli, and The Kids Are All Right, which I thought was the best of 2010. This had Mark Ruffalo, Julianne Moore, and Annette Bening about two kids with two moms who wanted to bring their biological father into their lives. This was a very subtle and very real, well-acted, really smart storytelling. And then that led us to 2011, which brought us some more good ones like The Help, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, The Grey, and Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close with Tom Hanks, Sandra Bullock, John Goodman, Viola Davis, about a 9-year-old who searches New York City for a lock that matches a key that was left behind by his father, who died in the World Trade Center on 9/11. Superb telling of a true story, effects of 9/11 on the children of the victims, a really great score, really innovative editing for its time. Loved this one. And that led us to 2012, which brought us some more good movies like Life of Pi, Moonrise Kingdom, and Silver Linings Playbook. This was one of the first of a handful of collaborations that we saw this decade of Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, Robert De Niro, and director-writer David O. Russell. This was about Cooper's character who spent some time in a mental institution and comes out and moves back in with his parents and tries to reconcile with his ex-wife. And while doing so, he meets Jennifer's character. It's a really interesting new twist on a rom-com, very well crafted with seemingly simple but really complex characters. This moves us to 2013. Gave us Gravity, Joe, very underrated film, Snowpiercer, Blackfish, Nebraska, and the best of 2013, 12 Years a Slave. Steve McQueen directed this one, had Chiwetel Ejiofor and Lupita Nyong'o and tons of other A-plus actors in this true story of a free black man who gets abducted and sold into slavery. The story itself is very powerful, very impactful, and very intense. And it's clear that Steve and his crew and cast handled it with the utmost respect and warmth that it needed to really let the story land, so to speak, with its viewers. The design elements, the acting, the cinematography were all quite genius. And that led us to 2014, which brought us Nightcrawler, Boyhood, Foxcatcher, Chef, Still Alice, and The Grand Budapest Hotel. This was about a legendary hotel concierge who becomes best friends with a lobby boy. Everyone in this ensemble is a legend, and it's very classic Wes Anderson. Has a beautiful score. It's visually stunning, a very avant-garde aesthetic. It's fast, it's creative, and a really good script. Moved us to 2015, which gave us The Martian, Room, Brooklyn, Straight Outta Compton, The Hateful Eight, and The Revenant, the best of 2015. This was Alejandro Iñárritu's telling of a frontiersman in the 1820s who fought for survival after being mauled by a bear and left for dead by members of his own hunting team. When I think of this movie, I think of just raw. Everything about this movie is raw. Iñárritu's direction, it's really heart-pumping, very real, and it's almost like a spiritual experience watching it. This moved us to 2016, which brought us Moonlight, Sully, Hacksaw Ridge, The Fundamentals of Caring, Mascots, and Fences. Denzel Washington produced, directed, and stars in this movie with Viola Davis, which is based on a play by August Wilson about an African-American family in the 1950s. This adaptation is almost identical to the original script and the original Broadway cast. It's really amazing how a stage play can be adapted to a film and have equal, if not more, impact on the story and for its audience. This moved us to 2017, which brought us the gifts that are Baby Driver, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, The Post, and Lady Bird. This was Greta Gerwig's film, starring Laurie Metcalf, Beanie Feldstein, and my favorite actress of this generation, Saoirse Ronan. This is a movie about the complex relationship between a mother and a daughter. Takes place in Sacramento, a very coming-of-age story with a really fresh perspective. I thought it had very honest performances, really stellar direction, and Laurie and Saoirse have a really intriguing chemistry. The push and pull is tantalizing. Which moved us to 2018, which gave us The Incredibles 2, Bohemian Rhapsody, Roma, Crazy Rich Asians, and Black Klansman. This is Spike Lee's film telling the very real and very bizarre true story of Ron Stallworth, a black cop who infiltrated the KKK. It was very poignant and very relevant for its time. Tons of social commentary. This is the epitome of art as activism. Art as activism at its finest. And then we moved on to 2019, just this year. Great year for films. We had Us, Queen and Slim, Little Women, Dolomite Is My Name, Booksmart, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This was Tarantino's 9th film, starring DiCaprio and Brad Pitt as a famous actor and stunt double in the golden age of Hollywood. And similar to how Tarantino always incorporates some type of history into his films, the Manson murderers, Roman Polanski, and Sharon Tate also play a role in this story. Lots of blood, really innovative storytelling, really captures the good, the bad, and the ugly of this era. And to recap, these are the 10 best films of the decade, one from each year, and all I can say is wow, what a decade it has been for movies and for audiences. I really cannot wait to see what the next decade brings us. As always, remember to like and share this video, follow us on Instagram at Limearts Productions, and subscribe.